Hey guys, it's Jenny Silver with a California update for you on Tuesday, September 21st. California may risk forfeiting millions of federal dollars intended to help struggling renters. A recent report by the California State Auditor outlines several problems in the way that California has been handling rental assistance. At $337 million of California rental aid dispersed from the federal government may be at risk of being reclaimed by the federal government if not allocated quickly. In a report sent over to Governor Gavin Newsom, State Auditor Elaine Howell stated that two problems are causing California to risk losing these federal dollars. The federal rules surrounding rental relief state that funds must be obligated to households by September 30th. This means that it must be promised to specific households and not necessarily delivered. The auditor said that the department has obligated about $1.4 billion, or 81% of its first round of federal funding. If the agency does not obligate more money to renters in the coming weeks, it may lose up to $337 million of its remaining unobligated funds. 6 months after the state began accepting applications for this program, it has only disbursed 20% of available funds. About 744,000 California households, which include 912,000 children, owed back rent in August, with the average amount overdue at $3,500, according to research released by PolicyLink and the USC Equity Research Institute. Federal guidelines require that for states that did not obligate 65% of their rental assistance money, that those funds are then redistributed to states that did. This means that California is on track to receive a second round of federal funding. However, this means that $337 million worth of potential tenant relief, which could be used by California renters, would still be forfeited. Since mid-March, the state of California has received over 232,000 applications, but has only paid out 44,000. The director of the Department of Housing and Community Development tried to get the California State Auditor to delay releasing her report and release it after the September 30th deadline. However, regardless of the director's opinion, the California State Auditor did in fact release her report. Despite the shortcomings, Californians are still encouraged to apply to Housing is Key in order to get access to 100% of their past due and future rental payments covered. Next, let's talk about the Golden State stimulus. Last Friday or closely thereafter, roughly 2 million Californians received a direct deposit for their Golden State Stimulus 2 payment. However, for those of you that have not yet received this payment, the next round of Golden State stimulus payments are set to go out on October 5th. October 5th marks the date that the Franchise Tax Board will both direct deposit the next batch of electronic disbursements as well as begin the mailing of checks. Additionally, the California Franchise Tax Board states that they may need additional time to review your account, and this may cause a delay if you're someone that has undergone a change of address, a change of bank account, or other information. Payments are to continue roughly every 2 weeks until the end of winter, as was stated by a California Franchise Tax Board spokesperson. Now, the California Franchise Tax Board has changed their information online. When they first posted information about payout dates, they included a table showing when to expect your check to be mailed. This was organized according to your zip code. While the Franchise Tax Board has since removed this table, the Golden State Stimulus 2 provides expanded eligibility for those who did not qualify to receive the Golden State Stimulus 1. If you qualified to receive a Golden State Stimulus 1 $600 payment, then you would not qualify to receive this round of $600 payment. However, for those of you who have dependents claimed on your tax return, including adult dependents, if you did receive Golden State Stimulus 1, then you may qualify to receive an additional $500 from the Golden State Stimulus 2 for dependents. Despite confusion that the name of the Golden State Stimulus 2 has caused, as well as confusion expressed in the media, the Golden State Stimulus 2 is not a second $600 payment for anyone that has already received one. To qualify, you must have a California AGI of $1 to $75,000 for the 2020 tax year. This AGI is the same for single filers as well as married filing jointly. $75,000 is the cap regardless. You must have had wages in the amount of $0 to $75,000 for the 2020 tax year. You must be a California resident for more than half of the 2020 tax year, and you must be a California resident on the date that the payment is issued. Additionally, you cannot be claimed as a dependent by another taxpayer. The next round of Golden State stimulus payments is set to be sent out via direct deposit starting on October 5th. Additionally, on October 5th, the California Franchise Tax Board should begin the process of mailing out checks to those individuals who will be receiving a check. The Franchise Tax Board states that this process will continue roughly every 2 weeks until the end of winter. Next, California officially has the lowest coronavirus case rate of any state in the U.S., according to recent federal figures. California's new case rate per 100,000 people is less than half of its neighboring states, according to the data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As of Monday, California's 7-day case rate was 95.3 per 100,000 people. The next closest state was Connecticut, coming in at 126.5 per 100,000 people. Over the last week, the state has reported an average of 8,849 new cases per day, which is down 33% from 2 weeks ago. Additionally down are COVID-19 hospitalizations. At the height of the current surge, more than 8,300 positive patients were hospitalized at one time statewide. Now that daily census has fallen to just about 6,000. However, this progress has been uneven. The Central Valley and parts of rural Northern California have been harder hit. Almost 66% of Californians have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, but the rates vary widely by community. 11 of the state's 58 counties have seen more than 70% of their residents receive at least one shot to date, according to data compiled by the LA Times. Lastly, I want to talk to you about the Rebuilding California loan for small businesses. Unlike the PPP loan, this is not a forgivable loan, but rather a low-interest loan intended for small businesses impacted by the pandemic. $56.5 million of additional funding have been given to the California Rebuilding Fund, which offers flexible, low-cost loans to support long-term recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic for small businesses. The maximum available loan amount is $100,000 or up to 100% of your business's average monthly revenues for 3 months prior to the pandemic. The current fixed annual interest rate for loans issued under this program will be 4.25%, with the exception of San Francisco-based businesses who are eligible for a 0% interest loan as a result of local city support. The business must have been in operation since at least June 30th, 2019. The main office or headquarters of the business must be in California. The business must have employed less than 50 or fewer full-time employees prior to March 2020. The business must have had gross revenues of less than $5 million in 2019. The business must have suffered a direct economic hardship as a result of COVID-19, and the business must have returned or sustained for at least 1 month at least 30% of pre-COVID revenues relative to a similar period in 2019. I'm going to leave the link for more information on this program as well as where you can apply in the video description down below. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. Please click like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about the California Rebuilding Something loan. What are they building? Businesses. This is Jenny Silver, and today I have a California update for you on Wednesday. It's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. I think. This applies to those who have changes on their account, such as what is this doing here?